we didn't know what caused this. And because this happened in November, along toward like February, March, we found out that the gene that caused the blindness causes kidney, heart,
or
liver failure when these infants are in their 20s.
So we dropped everything and took him to the hospital that Saturday, and that's when he was diagnosed. His blood work was so out of whack.
Well, actually, they took the blood a second time, and then they called in the kidney specialist, and she says, I have never seen numbers this bad before.
So it had been going on for a long time.
And I thought we were going to lose him. And his doctor came up to us and said, he's going to be all right. Brian Marilyn is going to be all right. So that was
Yeah, and every time she saw me, I had this worried look on my face. She says, don't worry, he's going to be all right.
Let's see, it took several days for kidney failure to sink in. I was in shock at the time, I think, and my thought process was, okay, something's wrong, but get back to leading as normal of a life as possible. And I had, being blind, I have to do things a little bit differently than people that can see can do. But for me, kidney failure was no different. It was just certain challenges that I have to overcome. And I had no doubt that I would be able to overcome them.
Some days I think he deals with it really good, and then other days I can see that he's down, and he's going to a psychologist weekly. He had to miss his appointment this week. He says, I really needed to talk to her this week. He has bad dreams, and I think he's...
Sleepless nights, too.
He's worried about his future. Is he going to get this kidney? Is he going to get it in time?
I had already started feeling the effects of certain body processes not functioning 100% like they were before I got on dialysis, and that scared me, that I would be on dialysis forever and have to just sit there and watch my body decay.
My fear is, just a sensitive one, is we've lost one son, and we don't want to lose another one. And so the idea is to get that transplant as soon as we can.
We were very hopeful shortly after he was diagnosed, and we started talking about transplant. And once he became eligible and on the list, we had maybe 7 or 8 people fill in the application to be a donor, a live donor. And 2 people were actually tested, and they weren't accepted.
And one, what we thought was going to be accepted, she and Chris actually had picked the date to do the transplant. And then one of the last tests, she missed, and that was really a rough one. Very, very rough on the whole family, and very, very rough on Chris.
At the time when all these people came forward, I was being realistic with myself as far as not hoping that one of them would make it, but not being overly surprised if none of them did. Just because if getting a kidney was that easy, then there wouldn't be 85,000 people looking for a kidney still.
So the wait time for a deceased donor is 4 to 5 years. So he could be on dialysis for 4 to 5 years before he gets a kidney from a deceased donor.
And so with his life being on hold, with no job, the expenses just continue down the road, because the longer he is on dialysis, there are side effects. You don't get better with dialysis. There's graphs that show that it's a gradual downhill slide, and with that are more expenses. When we started out, when Chris was diagnosed, he's been to 5 hospitals since then for different procedures, and sometimes there's almost a procedure every other week. So now as we go into the transplant, that 80% like will be covered, but the other part will not be. And afterwards, we've been told to expect the cost to be $10,000 to $20,000 a year.
And then there's drugs, anti-rejection drugs, which he'll be on the rest of his life. So he's always going to have money to pay for these expenses that aren't covered. And we are working through the National Transplant Assistance Fund to build up a fund that he can draw from that. So the rest of his life, there's going to be expenses.
And then if there's complications, then it just, it goes
Yeah.
on and on and on.
For me, I have to be in control of something. I have to control the way things go, the way my life goes, and the direction that it's going in. For me, that loss of control is the worst thing about this.
He wants to contribute to society. He wants to have a full life and not be dependent on his parents or anybody else. He wants to become a certified adaptive technology trainer. He wants to work with visually impaired combat veterans that have lost their sight. He can show them how to use the PC without vision.
It's training people on how to use technology that will take what's on the computer screen and translate it into speech or braille.
And that's what he wants to do, is help people. And he cannot help people being tied down here at our house. So that's how we desperately need him to get that kidney and get back to start helping people and feeling that he's contributing to society.
Okay, one thing I think I have gotten out of this is I'm more aware of organ donation, and when we lost Kevin, we decided to donate his organs. So as a family, we made the decision, and we're so very glad we did, because it's kind of given us a purpose.
I never knew there were 85,000 people on a list waiting for kidneys, and not all of them are going to get that kidney. And there's other people that need, there's heart transplants, and there's, again, the liver transplants, and a lot of organs just go away. They're not doing anybody any good in the cemetery. So I would like people to, when they re-register or get their license, put down there as a donor, because, we need to help each other. That's what life's all about, is helping each other.
Some people have the attitude that, whatever happens to the guy next to him doesn't concern me. So I'm just gonna keep my head down and mind my own business, but we're all in this together. So just if it's within your capability, you should go ahead and be more helpful to your next door neighbor.
So we made it this far, so now we just have to find that matching kidney out there, and then he gets on with his life and becomes a success that he wants to be.